guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Hawa Ridhwani and I post videos every Friday on sustainable and mindful living from the perspective of an ex-shopaholic. In today's video, we're going to be discussing cruelty-free makeup and my journey towards going cruelty-free in 2021. I'm going to be discussing what is cruelty-free, how do I define it, what are some of the brands that I'm going to be giving up in 2021, what are some brands that I'm treating with caution because their status with cruelty-free is a little bit murky or in the gray area, and then what are some brands that I'm really loving and embracing in 2021. I also want to preface this video by saying that this is a no judgment zone. I have very only recently decided to go cruelty-free in the last 6 months or so. So I'm hoping that this video will provide a resource for you if you decide that you want to go cruelty-free and help you out wherever you may be on your journey. So to begin with, I wanted to define what cruelty-free means to me and what I say or what I mean when I say the term cruelty-free. So when I say cruelty-free and how I'm defining this term is that they do not conduct any animal testing on their ingredients, raw materials, or finished products. They also do not contract third-party organizations to conduct any of the animal testing for them. And lastly, these brands also do not allow animal testing on their products as required or mandated by law. Now, this is completely different from vegan products. Now, vegan products are products that do not contain any animal ingredients or animal byproducts within them. I do want to stress that there is a difference between cruelty-free and vegan products, and it is possible for a brand to say that they are vegan but not be cruelty-free and vice versa. So I just want to make that clear distinction that I am going to be discussing cruelty-free brands today that do have vegan options within them. So the first brand that I'm going to be giving up in 2021 is NARS. Now this breaks my heart because NARS is one of those brands that I absolutely love. They have a great selection of foundations and concealers and lipsticks and eyeshadows as well. Like all out, I think that brand does such amazing products. And why this breaks my heart is that NARS actually used to be cruelty-free, but in 2017 they lost their cruelty-free status when they decided to sell in mainland China. Now in mainland China, there have been some new changes to their laws in regards to animal testing. So in China, they have decided to reduce their pre-market testing on makeup products, but they haven't exactly eliminated it. So they are trying out different and alternative ways to test the makeup products, but they haven't truly eliminated pre-market testing. And in China, if there is a customer complaint or any issues with the product, they do allow post-market testing as well. So when a brand says that they are cruelty-free, that may be in their animal policies or animal testing policies, but sometimes what they tend to miss out or what they tend to kind of gloss over is the fact that they do allow animal testing when required or mandated by law. So NARS is going to be a brand that I'm going to have to slowly wean myself off, and by saying that I mean I'm not going to purchase from them in the future. I still do have a lot of their products, so if in the future I decide to do makeup videos and you happen to see those products pop up, I'm just trying to finish those products before I try and replace them with cruelty-free or sustainable alternatives. Now, the second brand that I'm going to be giving up is MAC. They haven't been cruelty-free since 2012. The only products that I've been purchasing from MAC have been their lipsticks, because one of my favorite lipsticks is actually from MAC. And while on their website they say that they don't do any animal testing, they do approve and pay for third-party organizations to do the testing for them. So just be wary that sometimes brands will try and phrase things on their website or in their policies to say that they do not conduct any animal testing, but when they are required or mandated by law, they are okay with contracting third-party organizations to do it for them. So just be wary that that is usually how they kind of get away with, calling themselves cruelty-free. And the term cruelty-free isn't exactly regulated by law. So in a lot of countries like America, for example, the term cruelty-free isn't actually regulated. So a brand can call themselves cruelty-free, but they can still contract third-party organizations to do the testing for them. So just be mindful of that. And I'll be sure to link some good resources and links down below of where I get my cruelty-free resources from. So when I actually want to go purchase a brand and I'm not sure about the cruelty-free status, these are the ones that I usually refer to check that it's actually cruelty-free. And the last brand that I'm going to be giving up is Maybelline. Now, Maybelline is one of those brands that I grew up really loving. So the Fit Me foundation at one point, I would say was probably my like #1 foundation. It just transitioned really well from wearing it day to night. I could wear it for photographs, but I could also wear it when I go to the office or to school. They had such a great selection of mascaras and I really loved them. Unfortunately, again, Maybelline do test their ingredients on animals. They test their finished products where required by law, and they also allow third-party organizations to do the animal testing for them. So in that stance, as much as I love Maybelline and their standout products, I'm not going to be purchasing from them in the future. So now I'm going to be discussing two brands that I am going to be treating with caution from here on in. And the two brands that I think are kind of in the gray area in regards to their cruelty-free status are Laura Mercier and Charlotte Tilbury. Now, Laura Mercier do not sell in mainland China, and neither do they sell their products in other countries that require animal testing. However, where it gets a little bit murky is that Laura Mercier do not have any cruelty-free certifications from brands such as PETA or the Leaping Bunny. And what is good about having these certifications is that while the brand does not test their finished products on animals, sometimes their ingredients or their suppliers may actually do some animal testing throughout the production process. And what's good about the Leaping Bunny and the PETA organization certificates is that when they actually give the certificate to a brand, they're actually saying that they do not test any of their ingredients or raw materials or any of their materials in the production process on animals. So Laura Mercier is kind of in that gray area where they claim themselves to be cruelty-free, but they don't have any certifications with regards to whether or not they do animal testing in their production process. So it's a little bit of a gray area. So for now, I'm probably not going to be purchasing anything from them until that has been made clear. Now, the next brand that is in the murky or gray area, and this breaks my heart even more so than NARS, because I am talking about Charlotte Tilbury. Charlotte Tilbury is one of those brands that I love so much. I love everything that Charlotte Tilbury stands for. If you were to actually look at her website, the collections that she releases, like her Hot Lips line and her Hot Lips 2 line, she just comes from a place of women empowerment. The lipsticks that she produces can be so inclusive of people of color. Honestly, at one point, I might as well be giving my salary to Charlotte Tilbury. Like Tuesday, I would get my salary, and then Wednesday, I'm giving it to Charlotte Tilbury. That's how much I loved it. When I traveled to London in December 2019, before the pandemic started, I went there for a holiday with my family. My family went there ahead of time because I was traveling to Thailand with my best friend Ariel, and I told my family, you guys fly ahead first and then I'll meet you there in London. So when I actually flew into London, I landed, my siblings came to pick me up, and I went back home to the apartment that we were renting while we were staying there. I showered, said hi to my dad, and then I just said to my siblings, okay, we've got to go to Covent Garden now because I want to go shop at Charlotte Tilbury.
Before anything, this is the first place she goes to.
So literally that was my first priority when I landed in London, was say hi to my family, say hi to my dad, and then I basically went, I'm gonna go buy makeup, I'll see you later. And it breaks my heart that this brand is in the gray area when it comes to their cruelty-free status. There is a bit of a loophole with remaining cruelty-free while wanting to sell your products in mainland China, and that is through online shopping. Where it gets a little bit murky is that last year, Charlotte Tilbury decided to open up pop-up stores in mainland China, where the customers could actually try out the products and have little testing products before they purchase the products online. And the issue is that while those products may not necessarily go through pre-market testing, if there are any customer complaints about the tester products, they can go through post-market testing. In that stance, it is a little bit in the gray area because with the online store, they're not technically selling in mainland China because they're going through the online route. But with the pop-up stores, it does make it a little bit in the gray area because they may be mandated or required by law to do post-market testing if a customer complains. So for now, I'm gonna have to restrict myself from buying anything from Charlotte Tilbury until the whole pop-up store debacle has resolved itself. I get so passionate about this. I love this brand so much. So Charlotte Tilbury, just take out the pop-up stores. I promise you, your products are the best. Like, people don't need to test them. They're just that good. Just take it out, please, for me and for everybody who's trying to go cruelty-free. Oh my goodness, I get so passionate about this. I love this brand so much. So come on, Charlotte Tilbury, be on my side. Be on the side of everybody who's trying to go cruelty-free. Now we get to the fun part of the video where I'm going to be discussing 5 to 6 brands that I'm going to be embracing in 2021. I just want to stress that this is not an extensive list of cruelty-free makeup brands. I'll leave a link down below where you can actually see the full list of brands that are cruelty-free. But the brands that I'm going to be recommending today are brands that I have purchased from before and I can recommend and vouch for their products. In that sense, I just want to try and provide some information on some products that you may already be using that are cruelty-free and you may not even know. So the first 2 brands, I'm kind of clustering them together because I feel like they're quite similar in their status of how mainstream they are. And those 2 brands are Too Faced and Urban Decay. Now, I feel like these 2 brands are very popular. You can get them in Mecca Cosmetica or Mecca Maxima if you're in Australia, or Sephora if you happen to be living in other places of the world like Malaysia. So Too Faced is actually owned by Estee Lauder and Urban Decay is owned by L'Oreal. Now, L'Oreal and Estee Lauder are the parent companies, and those parent companies actually do conduct animal testing, but Too Faced and Urban Decay do not. Now, some people are on the side that cruelty-free means that you don't purchase from parent companies that conduct animal testing. My personal opinion on this, and you are free to have your own, is that I feel like by purchasing these brands from these parent companies that do conduct animal testing, I'm voting with my dollar to say that yes, there is a demand, and I am choosing from your parent company, which has, 100 different makeup brands. Instead of the ones that are not cruelty-free, I'm purchasing the ones that are cruelty-free, and I'm therefore voting with my dollar and creating a demand for it. That's my personal perspective on it. You may have a different one, and that's totally okay. So from Urban Decay and Too Faced, they also have really fantastic vegan options. Some of my favorite picks from the Too Faced brand is the Born This Way foundation, which is the foundation I wear in all of my videos, and also the Better Than Sex mascara, which I wear pretty much on a daily basis. These brands also have fantastic eyeshadow palettes and lipstick options as well. What I love about these brands is that they show that you can still be a mainstream brand that is being sold in places like Mecca Maxima and Sephora and still make profits while still being cruelty-free. Love it. The next brand that I'm going to be discussing is Hourglass. Now, I really love Hourglass. I think that they have such sleek, elegant packaging. From this brand, I can actually vouch for the Vanish foundation stick. It's really great if you have dry skin and you want to have a foundation stick. Their powders are also really delightful. They are a little bit on the pricier side, but in my opinion, I think that they're really worth the money if you want that natural kind of lit from within look. Their dim light powder is actually the one that I use for my under eyes every day, and it's really perfect for those of us who have drier skin. The next brand that I'm going to be discussing is Chantecaille. Now, I don't actually own a lot of products from Chantecaille. One of their products that I do own and love and have been repurchasing for the last several years is their Just Skin Tinted Moisturizer. I actually almost never finish a product, so it goes to show the fact that I've actually repurchased this product is a bit of a testament to how good it is for my dry, acne-prone, sensitive skin. It's the one that I use when I want to go to work, but it's also something that I reach for on the weekends when I want a little bit of coverage, but I don't want something that's too heavy that I'm going to really feel on my face. The next brand I'm going to be talking about is RMS Beauty. Now, this is a recent discover for me in 2020. And the reason why I discovered this brand is because I found out that this is one of Emma Watson's favorite makeup brands. And I jumped on board because I love everything that Emma Watson does. So I love this brand because they actually house their products in recycled glass pots. My everyday concealer is actually from this brand. The Uncover Up concealer is really brightening and it gives you more of that dewy look if you happen to like that look. It does have coconut oil in it though. So personally, I can't actually put that concealer on my face because I break out when I use coconut oil on my face. But for under the eyes, perfect. And the last makeup brand that I'm going to be embracing in 2021 is Kosas Cosmetics. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'll put it on the screen if you wanted to see. And the reason why I really love this brand is, again, they have a lot of dewy and minimalistic makeup options, which happens to be my style of makeup. I really love their tinted face oil and their concealer. It's super lovely when I want to look dewy and have that sort of fresh off the beach kind of look. Their blush and highlighter palette in Tropical Equinox is one of my favorites. I'm not one for powders much for every day, so cream, bronzers, and highlighters are my go-to. And this product gives a real sun-kissed glow to my skin, which I love. So that's it for this video. I hope that this video gave you some ideas of some cruelty-free brands and cruelty-free products that you'd like to try in the future. And hopefully for this video, I'm also coming across and showing you that cruelty-free, or deciding to go cruelty-free with your makeup, can be accessible and you don't have to sacrifice on quality with your products. As I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be leaving links down below of some cruelty-free sources that I refer back to on a regular basis, so that the next time that you go to places like Mecca Maxima or Sephora to purchase your products, you do have these cruelty-free sources on hand for you to kind of check into when you're purchasing your products. So I also want to say that I have done a lot of research into cruelty-free products. So if you want me to do a skincare version of this, please let me know down below in the comments if that interests you at all. As always, if you enjoyed watching my video, please share, like, and subscribe. It really helps me out. And thank you so much for watching my video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.